let's also talk about the thing that everybody on F1 Twitter is talking about, cost cap.
Cost cap penalties.
Yes, it is finally.
Just we'll just say one word and we'll move on. There is
Okay.
nothing much to talk about it. I feel we have already ranted about FIA. I am not going to stay for another FIA rant.
No, it's not going to be an FIA rant as such. It's just that, what's amazing to me is that after the penalties were announced, of course, Red Bull also had a press conference, and I've not seen the entire press conference, but Christian Horner has said that we have accepted the penalty begrudgingly because because we did not want to draw out the process, because had they rejected it, it would have been like a long process. But I'm also like, if you're that confident that you've not breached the cost cap, why not pursue it?
Yeah,
I don't get it. If you that's the only point I want to make. If you're that confident, if you're saying, so there are around some 13 points of different interpretation or whatever that cost that resulted in this. But then I was like, if you're that confident that what your interpretation is correct, why not battle it out? Why not? That's the one thing I want to say. And of course, like there is a 10% reduction in CFT and wind tunnel for them, and a fine of 7 million, which does not come out of the cost cap, which I think is there is no point. Unless you are giving that 7 million either back to the sport or something like that, there's no point of that fine. So that fine is useless. As for the reduction in time for CFD and wind tunnel testing, I get it, it is going to affect them, but at the same time, that Red Bull is already so dominant, dude. It's already so dominant. Like, the only thing that's going to enable is for maybe Mercedes and Ferrari to get closer to them. But it's not like Red Bull is all of a sudden going to become a midfield team. It's not going to affect much.
Yeah.
I don't think it will, because it's not like they don't get any development time at all. They just have 10% less time, of already lesser amount of time, because they are going to get the least amount of time in winter because they won the constructors.
Yeah.
So
Also,
I think
do you
yeah.
do you think other teams will be spending over the budget cap next year? If the penalties are going to be this low and not stringent, so do you think?
The thing is that I do think that this is not a strong enough deterrent for teams to not spend over the budget.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that it's just a level of pettiness. Like, if Toto, I mean, I know Toto has said in the past that if FIA does not get punished, Mercedes is ready to overspend. I'm like, don't stoop to their level. Like, I know they do get some form of an advantage if, of course, they are overspending the budget cap or whatever. But again, like, it's not achieving anything. And I mean, I live too much in this idealistic world when it comes to sport. I'm all about honoring the regulations and rules and following everything and whatever. But like, I will lose respect for Mercedes if they overspend next year.
So my whole point is, it's okay if the regulations are being followed and they are being given out, but when you are clearly being a victim of following all the rules and regulations, I don't think this statement from Toto as stooping low to the Red Bull level, but I would think it has a revolt.
Yeah, it does. But again, at the same time, you also have to look at the fact that teams like Haas and Williams and Alpha, like these teams are not even reaching their 145 million cap. Like, they're not even utilizing all of that. Like, even with Haas and all their crashes, they would still not breach their cap, because they just don't have the money. And of course, teams that have bigger budgets, your Ferraris, your Mercedes, Red Bull, McLaren to an extent, Aston Martin,
Yeah.
I mean, they are fucking loaded. So again, like, at the end of the day, the cost cap was introduced to bring the teams closer. I still think that they've not done a good enough job to deter other teams from doing that. But at the same time, I would like to believe that, yeah, just don't do it, man. Just don't do it. I don't know.
I would feel okay if Mercedes did it. I don't lose any respect. I can understand what they're feeling, so it's unfair to
Oh,
them. So
I mean, I understand because I have those same feelings, buddy. I have been so angry since yesterday, ever since I saw
I
that
know, I know,
penalty.
I know, I
I
know.
have been so fucking annoyed because I'm like, and their entire thing of giving this quote unquote penalty is that, oh, Red Bull never acted in any malice. I'm sorry. If they overspent, that was malice. It's as simple as that. They acted deliberately and they overspent on the budget. I think Christian Horner also said that in 2020, they did not do a dry run, which all the teams did. So I'm like, now you can't say that we interpreted the regulations differently. You had the option to do a dry run. You chose not
Yes,
to do
yes,
it.
yes.
That is on you. But 9 other teams stuck to the budget cap.
Yeah.
9 other teams. Every single other team on the track, they stuck to the budget cap. So I don't think it's that difficult, everybody giving excuses of, there should not, it's not that big a thing, or, what do you say, inflation, this, that, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that is same for all the teams. That is same for every single team. Like, inflation is not just going to affect one team, it's going to affect
Yes, yes.
everybody. So don't give me these bullshit excuses. Don't tell me that my macroeconomic factors are going to affect only one team. It's macroeconomics, it's going to affect everybody. Just don't fuck with me right now. I'm telling you, I am so angry. I am so angry right now. But I think the blame here lies with the FIA, because
Yeah,
Red Bull
yeah, 100%.
obviously did whatever it is that they did, but the onus is on the FIA, because again, these are the rules that the FIA established, and now there is a team that did not follow those rules, and you have yet again failed to punish them in a way that sends a message to them and to the other teams that if you do this, there are going
The
to be
consequences will
consequences.
be,
And
yes, yes,
again,
yes.
like, let me preface this. Let me just make this very clear. I am in no way, shape, or form telling that the 2021 result should be changed. Okay. I don't
Yeah,
want
yeah,
Lewis to
yeah.
win his 8th like this. I don't want him to
Yes.
win it 10, 11 months after the fact. If they wanted to win
And
it like this, they wouldn't have withdrawn their appeal. They
it
had.
would also be unfair on Max Verstappen's point of view also,
I don't
if the
care
right
about
wing had
Max
changed.
Verstappen's. I don't care about Max Verstappen's point of view right now, because I'm fucking mad at Red Bull also. But I don't want the championship result to change. The least you could do is at least tell them, okay, you keep your constructors win and your driver championship win for this year, and you keep your driver championship for next year. But at least don't give them the money from the pie this year. Like, punish them. Have some teeth. Don't disqualify Red Bull even this year. I don't need a disqualification from them. I do not need it. But take away their money. Take away their money, because they're going to get the biggest slice of the pie this year as well. They have won, and sure, nobody can say where that extra investment had happened, whether it was catering, whether it was whatever the fuck. I don't care. Even if it was on catering, that money should have still been under the cost cap, because if you spend that extra money on catering, that amount of money that you spent on catering, of course that was spent on the development of the car. It's as simple as that. Wherever
Yep.
it is that they are categorizing that overspend, you overspent on the development. That's why this extra thing had to be spent on your shitty things like catering. That's how budgets work. So
Yes.
yeah, I am not asking for any sort of a disqualification, but hurt Red Bull where it hurts them the most. Take away their money. Take that away, at least. That 7 million fine, at least take that away from their budget cap. Tell them that next year you have a budget of 138 million, not 145. 7
Yep.
million should come out of the cost cap. That is like, that is something that deters them. Like, and the other teams as well. So if tomorrow Mercedes thinks that we should exceed the budget cap, they will be like, no, we should not, because for next season, whatever fine they impose on us, that is going to come out of our budget cap. So people don't do it. Do that. So the penalty, I know Red Bull fans are saying that it's so harsh, blah, 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 whatever. No, I don't think it's harsh
So
enough.
harsh?
It's
What
not.
harsh?
It's nothing.
No.
It's nothing. You are
Not even close
limiting.
to harsh.
Yes, you are limiting the wind tunnel and CFT time for a team that is already a second off of the second car. Like, it's already so dominant, and it's not like they don't have any time for testing or in the wind tunnel at all. You've just cut it down by 10%. They are already so dominant. It does not do anything to deter it. Keep your fucking championships, Red Bull. I don't fucking care. But FIA, punish them in a way that is going to actually affect their performance, because they did spend that extra money and it did go on the car. Nobody is risking spending 400,000 or whatever it is, whatever the amount is, on fucking sandwiches. They spent it on the car. And to anybody who says that it's because Lewis and Max crashed in Silverstone, that is the reason, that there are a lot of teams who crashed. Nobody else exceeded the budget. There are a lot of crashes. Stop giving bullshit excuses. Your team cheated. Live with it. That's the end of my second FIA rant. Sorry. That's my
And
cost cap
thanks
rant.
for the second FIA rant. I knew it. I knew this was coming.
Dude, I am like, you have no idea how angry I am. Like, how many more examples do you need that the last year's championship is so fucking tainted? Like, how many examples? First you have Abu Dhabi, then you do the exact similar circumstances, you follow the rules to the T in Monza, and then you have an F3 champion who is so fucking traumatized by Abu Dhabi. He's fearing that his championship win will be taken away from him. And then this thing about cost cap comes out, and then the penalty is so fucking lenient. I don't understand how Ross Brawn had the gall in that press conference video. If you've seen, if you winning the championship fraudulently, if you're breaching the cap fraudulently, you will lose your championships. Where are those teeth? You say all these words, but when it's time for action, you become a fucking chihuahua. Fuck off. I don't have time for you. So that was it. Those are our thoughts on the cost cap penalties, or rather predominantly my thoughts on the cost cap penalties for Red Bull. Thank you for listening to this episode, and if you have any feedback for us, or if you want us to cover anything, or if you want to be part of the podcast, write to us at overthecurvepodcast@gmail.com, or you can also reach out to us on our Instagram at overthecurvepodcast, or on our Twitter at overthecurvepod. Do let us know what you think of these cost cap penalties. Again, we are also on YouTube. Leave us your comments and tell us what you think of these cost cap penalties that have been imposed on Red Bull. And until the next episode, bye bye.